Good morning or afternoon, depending on when you're watching this. I am Caitlin. I am co owner of Ascendria, which is in Polson, Montana. Not many updates on that front. We are open, usually Tuesday through Saturday from 8 to 4. And I will be going live today to pull some free cards for people who want it. And then we're planning on going live August 1st for like a kind of a mini Lunasa ritual that I will be doing, and maybe you can come sit with me. I will be doing today's reading just a little differently. Instead of doing signs or elements, I decided to just do kind of a pick a pile, pick a group kind of style. I will let you guys choose. Let me show you what we got on the table here. It'll take a while for me to get fully set up how I want to, but I'm a firm believer of use what you've got. So pile number 1, we have Be Peace, a purple candle, clear quartz, lemongrass incense, and then I will read the runes when we get into the piles. Group number 2, you have Parrot Spirit, watch your words. We've got the red candle, a red jasper crystal, a myrrh cone incense. And then group number 3, we have Whale Spirit, trust the great mystery. I've got my Big Witch Energy candle, and then a jade crystal, and a bay leaf for incense. Go ahead and take a deep breath. Center yourself. Choose which one calls out to you. Okay, hopefully you've had enough time to pick your pile. We're going to start with pile number 1, which had the purple candle. Let's go ahead and get that set down in there. Perfect. Okay. Now where do I set it? Do you want it in the frame? I don't know what I want to do. What if we put it over here? Do we want it in a frame or not? I am so indecisive today. Oh goodness. Let's leave it out of the frame for now. If y'all want candles in the flame, in the frame, let me know. I will put them in the frame. We've got clear quartz. And then I'm new to runes, so we're gonna read this one. I believe it's pronounced Inguaz. It is a, is it gonna focus? Maybe. Boop. I don't know if that's gonna focus or not. You can see it. It is a symbol of fertility, potential, and new beginnings. And then fertility doesn't always necessarily mean you're gonna be pregnant. It's also just birthing new ideas, just new. Okay. And then we had Dove Spirit, Be Peace. Good, good. And Lemongrass Incense, which smells amazing, by the way. Wish we could smell through technology. Okay. Okay. Let's see what we've got for you today. Pile number 1. What do we have going on for pile number 1? Okay. What's going on for pile number 1? Whoa. So we have the Magician, which that actually speaks to what I said kind of in the choosing the cards. The Magician to me says use what you've got. And then we have the 9 of Wands. I'm almost hearing with that, trust your abilities. I've been asked before, like, how do you know you have these spiritual psychic abilities? I believe we all have them. You just gotta tap into it and have that self-trust in order to bring those messages forward. We all have intuition. So with the Magician and the 9 of Wands, because the 9 of Wands is about like having kind of a wall up, being mistrustful. And the Magician is like a master alchemist. So some of you may not be trusting yourself and your ability, or maybe waiting for like the perfect time or the perfect setup and circumstances. Don't do that. Do it. Do it anyways. Use what you got. What is the challenge or aspect hindering this? What's making y'all so doubtful, mistrustful? That's a lot of cards. The one on top was the Tower, though. What challenge is hindering group 1? Okay. So we've got the High Priestess and 4 of Swords. I mean, we're getting heavy on the intuition again with the High Priestess. The High Priestess to me is like connected to like every force of nature, the light and the dark. It's like if you're into like fantasy shows and movies, I don't know, like The Witcher, or if you read books, Court of Thorns and Roses. Like think High Priestess like that. Like they're in touch with their own magic, with their own intuition. But the Four of Swords is like a break, a rest. Are you depressed? I don't mean to laugh. You might be. This might not be a challenge that's hindering you. This might be what's helping you. You might just need a little bit of rest, some sleepies. Because this kind of work, like tapping into that intuition and getting messages and downloads, it does take energy. It does take quite a bit out of you. What's going on in the recent past? What led up to this? Okay, the moon. The moon typically, like traditionally speaking, speaks of hidden things or mostly hidden things. Oh, that's the word I was looking for. Unconscious, subconscious. But to me, in this deck, because like she's sinking down into the water, and water kind of represents intuition and emotions, and you have the light wolf and the dark wolf. So to me, that kind of speaks to almost drowning in a sea of emotion, light and dark. Your thoughts might be overwhelming you, might be attaching to those thoughts too heavily, so it's blocking out being able to hear that intuition. I really want to say this is showing depression. Like it's hard to hear and feel the currents of life because you're checked out, you're tuned out. Huh. What is this leading to if no changes are made? What is this leading to if no changes are made? Look at the Hierophant. This is usually like kind of, traditionally speaking, this is usually the counterpart to the High Priestess. He's the High Priest, basically. But in this deck, to me, it's like the Stairway to me kind of represents a connection to the divine source, God, the universe, spirit, whatever you want to call it. And it just creates like this sense of joy and peace. I don't think you gotta do anything. Just keep going. Yeah, I think you're on the right track. Taking time for self-care and rest to be able to hear that intuition or the, spirit within you. I think you're learning what you need to feel grounded. And with that 9 of Wands, you might just be a little protective of your energy right now and not allowing anything in that will disrupt that. What do we have going on in the subconscious programming? What do we got going on in the subconscious programming? Y'all are wanting way too many cards to pull. I just need one. Or two. Your spread seems to like 2 cards. So that's just one. What's going on in the subconscious? 10 of Wands. This is carrying the load by yourself, carrying the burdens. You might be operating off of this like subconscious programming that you have to do it all alone. There's a lot of isolation within this spread. But you don't have to do it alone. That's a choice. What is your goal here? What are you hoping will come of all of this? What are you striving for? What is in the conscious? King of Pentacles. Get that money. The King of Pentacles is like he's a master at bringing ideas into the physical for, I would say, for monetary gain. He's very practical. Pentacles also speak towards like foundations and values. The king being the end of it though is very, because he's the last of the suit. So I would say he's pretty rooted in his own beliefs and his values. You might be isolating yourself right now to root yourself, to create those roots. Yeah, it's almost like you're trying to not figure it out, but like either you're not very rooted in what you believe or your values or what your values are, or you haven't even really thought about it, or it might be changing, shifting. So what you once knew isn't what you know now, if that makes sense. Okay. Hold on. Give me just a moment. Okay. What is your influence in all of this? Again, way too many cards. What is your influence in all of this? You might have a lot of stakes in this. Ooh. Seven of Cups. That kind of checks out. The Seven of Cups to me is like, I always explain it like walking through the aisle in Walmart, or the candy aisle in Walmart, and being overwhelmed with all the choices that are there. Like if you've never had candy in your life and you walked through that aisle, it is overwhelming how many choices there are. Even if you take like the whole entire store, there's a lot of choices. And it's almost being overwhelmed with too many choices, too many routes that you could take. Something within your values and your beliefs and your intuition and your inner world is super unsettled right now. Might be causing that in itself, that kind of lost drifting feeling might be causing that depression, that tiredness. What are the outside influences? What are the outside influences in all this? What external forces are at play here? Whoa. What external forces are at play here? Not bad. Temperance. Temperance is like, it's balance in the sense of counterbalance, if that, so like when you're tempering a sword, it gets really, 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 really hot, and you put it in really, really cold water to temper it. It's like the extreme opposites. But with that, especially in this deck, it always says to me like this sense of duality. If one exists, the opposite must exist as well. So if light exists, the dark exists as well. Or if depression exists, happiness also exists. It's like, you know those things that are like the balls that hit each other and they like go like that? It's very similar to that. It's a cause and effect. You're not always going to be happy. A lot of us try to attain that like permanent happiness. You're never going to have a perfect day. You're never going to stay happy. You can get your baseline up there to where like that's where you start, but throughout the day you're going to have highs and lows. And the bigger the joy, as soon as that comes around, the harder the dark shadow period of that, if that makes sense. So something about balance and duality is influencing all of this. Okay. I didn't even ask the question yet. What are your hopes and fears in all of this? Because keep in mind, hopes and fears are very closely tied together. If you're hoping for something to happen, you're also fearing the opposite. There's that duality pendulum again. If hope exists, fear also exists in that. Two of Pentacles. Two of Pentacles to me is usually like it's a balancing act. Heavy on the balance. But it's like juggling two things at once. Usually something that no longer serves you versus like what you're heading towards. Almost like an in-between period of time where you still got one foot in the past and one foot in the future. Are you hoping to stay there? You might be hoping to fully step into what's coming, and you fear like getting stuck in where you're at now. It's almost like, you know, those little it's like you had the happy, now you're in the kind of dark shadow period, and you want to get back to that happy, and you're afraid of after this shadow period it just halting and just staying and getting stuck there. But the only constant is changed. So, I mean, this too shall pass. You guys are on it. Ready to talk. What is the outcome of all of this? What is the overall advice? The big picture, if you will. 6 of Wands. I mean, that's a pretty good energy. That's like victory and triumph. Like if you really wanted to be a singer, you're getting your stage time. I'm almost getting with that. Trust the process. Every step of the way on the path is meant to be there to get you where you want to go. Yeah, just slow down. Sit with where you're at right now. And just trust that things will get better. And they'll get worse. And then they'll get better. And then they'll get worse. And then they'll get better. It's like a little roller coaster. I almost wonder, because like your identifying card for the group was Dove Spirit, Be Peace. So I almost wonder if you're learning to hold that peace in the midst of the dark shadow period, the chaos, and learning to really center yourself and walk through that and not let all the chaos that's surrounding you affect your inner peace and therefore your actions. I just noted something. There's a rune on her arm. And it's not gonna focus, is it? Is it gonna focus? Please focus. It's not gonna focus, but the rune on her arm is the same rune on here. That's pretty cool. I'm getting kind of like a harmony energy with that, because that rune is about new beginnings. So you're almost like intentionally isolating yourself to kind of sit in this in-between state before you get to that new beginning. I like it. That concludes your reading for today. If this is where we part, I hope you have a good rest of your day, have a good rest of your week, your month, your year, whatever. I hope this resonated with you and helped you gain a little bit more clarity so that you can step forward in a more conscious way. Yeah, today. My brain cannot think today. What was I trying to say? Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you next week for next week's reading. See you. Hello, welcome to pile number 2. For you guys, we had the red candle. So we'll go ahead and get that situated down there. Perfect. had the myrrh incense. Get that started. Okay. We had, hold on. Like I said, I'm still pretty new to runes, so I will be reading them. This is the Nauthiz rune. I hope I'm pronouncing all these right. It represents need, constraint, and hardship. It signifies the challenges and necessities that can lead to personal growth and resilience. Nauthiz is associated with the concept of need fire, highlighting the primal urge to survive and overcome adversity. You know, that almost reminds me, I've been rereading Outlander again, and where was I going with that? Oh, at the very end of the first book, Claire is trying to break Jamie out of prison. And while she's outside, she like she runs into like a wolf with a bum leg. And she has to like fight this wolf barehanded. But she talks about this point where it becomes life or death, and just everything else falls away but the need to survive. You don't care if you get hurt, you don't care about anything but the need to survive. Very survival mode. Ugh. Good thing we've got red jasper. Red jasper is a really good one for grounding. You might need it. Parrot spirit says watch your words. Watch your words in survival mode, maybe? Oh, dear Lord. What are we gonna get in your reading? I almost put the candle out with that shuffle. Okay. We're doing pile number 2. Let's see what we've got for your situation. Out of all my decks, this is my favorite one to shuffle. Probably because I use it the most, so it's just easy to shuffle it. It flows so smoothly. Okay, what situation do we got going on for pile number 2? Pile number 2. Oh, we got 3. Ooh. We've got the 3 of Cups. In this deck, to me, this speaks about getting into like a creative flow. If you've ever seen the movie Soul on Disney Plus, it's like getting into the zone. She's got all those instruments around her, and it doesn't necessarily have to be music, it's just getting into that creative flow. We've got the 4 of Cups. That's interesting. 3 and then the 4. But the 4 of Cups usually speaks towards like being malcontent. He's got all these cups down here, but he's dreaming about like a specific cup. So it's almost one of those like you're dreaming of more without realizing what you already have. Almost like gratitude breeds more things to be grateful for. It's the kind of cautionary or the cautionary aspect or the advice of this card is to pay attention to what you already have. But then we've got the Three of Swords, which the Three of Swords speaks to, it's not always intense heartbreak, but it is discomfort. Which, I mean, if we're talking about survival mode, yeah, I'd be a little uncomfortable too. I'd be a little tense. What could be happening is you're dreaming of creating something, but like I don't know if it's, two different things could be happening. You could either be doubting your creative flow and you don't realize that you already have an abundance of creativity within you, or bringing it back to like the kind of need and survival mode of all of this. You could be trying to create a career out of something something within creativity. Either trying to make music full time or be an artist full time. But there's not a lot of, it takes a hot minute to start making real money off of that. But the Four of Cups is saying you already have what you need for now. What is hindering or aiding you in this situation? Got the Two of Wands. I don't always usually go off of the traditional meaning. I usually go off of the imagery on the specific card in the specific deck. And you've got one key and two boxes. So it almost says to me like you already hold the key to unlock a dream. You just have to choose what dream you are going to unlock. I'm getting a sense that it'll open either one. You just got to make a choice. You got to make a decision. What's going on in the recent past? What led up to all this? What led up to all of this? Okay, the Magician. Usually, like, traditionally, this card is, like, a master alchemist, and I love the imagery of this specific card because it just, like, it really does portray him as a master alchemist, being able to take different elements and create something new out of them, either creating something out of nothing or taking two individual elements on their own and creating something new by blending them. Yeah, it's almost like you have like this deep well of creativity, and you want to put it to use. You want to start making money off of it. Like you want to do something with it. But you already have everything you need. where is this taking you if nothing changes? I don't usually like to read, like, oh, what's happening in the future. But the way I view, like, future positions within a certain spread is, like, how you perceive your life path directing you, like how you perceive your future, what you think is going to happen should nothing change. Whoa. I mean, Six of Wands is a pretty good outcome. This guy on his horse is taking a victory lap. It is victory and triumph. Are you doubting that? No, I think you know this is going to lead to good things. You just can't. You're having an issue or difficulty picking which box you want to go with. What's going on in the subconscious? What subconscious programming is at play here? Faith. Trusting the process. That's pretty good for the subconscious programming. So what's the issue here? Are you in the midst of bringing your creative talents into the reality? Because if you're in the midst of it, sorry, if you're already in the midst of it, things might be getting a little tight. But you're trusting the process. I don't see what the issue is here. I don't think you have any issues. I thought there was going to be issues with being in survival mode. But you've got a lot of faith in all of this. It's just hard right now. This chapter, this phase is taking its toll on you. Let's see, what are you striving for? What's in your conscious mind? What is your conscious thoughts in all of this? Oh my lord. Sorry. That is such an odd combination. We've got the Three of Wands, which is waiting for your ship to come in. Waiting patiently, I might add, because with all of this, or impatiently. That might be why this period is hard. Because you're trusting the process, you have the faith, you know it's going to lead to good things, but you're still in the waiting period, which is really hard. And then Five of Swords. Ooh, sorry. There's a line in the book that describes this card that I really liked how it described this card. And it was, having fought the good fight, the last man standing has lost everything but the will to continue. Yeah, you're in survival mode. Something like you might have hit a plateau within trying to bring this whatever creative endeavor into the reality. You've brought it into the reality. You're there. But this waiting period is really hard. You might be either losing money on it or losing sleep, losing faith, losing friends maybe, just losing almost everything but your will to keep going. Hmm. But that's in the position of the conscious mind. So that's like, that's what you're focusing on. You have a lot of faith, but it's almost like maybe you consciously think you have to sacrifice everything in order for that ship to come in. Because, like, I keep getting pulled back to this Two of Wands and trying to tie all of that together. It's almost like you don't think you've sacrificed enough to be able to choose a box and open it. What is your influence in all of this? What is your energy in all of this? What is your influence? Temperance. Temperance is like counterbalance. So, with your influence being temperance and the counterbalance, because it's like the extreme opposites in something. When you when they temper swords, it gets extremely hot, and then they dip it into the cold water to temper it. It's the extreme hot, extreme cold. So your influence in all of this, it's almost like when you get too into your conscious mind and start thinking that you've got to sacrifice everything, you're going to lose everything, in survival mode, waiting for the ship to come in impatiently. You keep like coming back and reminding yourself to trust the process that you just started. You're going to get there. You just have to get through this period of time. You just have to choose a box, choose a direction, and walk. Yeah, this temperance seems very internal mental influence that you have on this. What are the external forces? What are the external forces influencing all of this? What is influencing this externally? Page of Coins. Pages are usually, they're messengers, they're news. They're also typically children. If you think of pages in the medieval times, they were typically children. They still have a lot to learn. They're not quite useful yet because they have a lot to learn. But the Page of Coins specifically in Pentacles and Earth energy, the Page of Coins is really dedicated, really patient, laying the groundwork and the foundations in a practical and patient way. They're willing to put in the work to learn. Now, is that you or is that somebody helping you? I don't know that it's you. Because number one, it's external forces. And number two, I hate to say this, don't shoot me. You don't seem very patient right now. This waiting period is making you anxious as hell. It's making it feel like you might not get there. You might stay stuck in this constant battle and survival mode. So the Page of Coins might be an external person or external energy that is helping you in all of this. It's either someone or something, well, mostly someone who is patient and practical and willing to put in the work. And if it is you, you're almost teeter-tottering between being patient and being impatient, like almost like the Temperance. Whenever you get into that mindset of it's not going to work, you temper it with just trust the process, have faith. If this Page of Coins is you, you're laying a good foundation. There's a good foundation. Yeah. So what are your hopes and your fears in all of this? What is something that you're hoping for, but also fearing the opposite? What are your hopes and fears in all of this? I can almost guess. So we got the Hanging Man. And I always thought it was interesting that in this deck it's the Hanging Man, not the Hanged Man. To me, it always makes me wonder if like you're in the middle of a shift and not the perspectives are already shift. But then we also have strength, which is courage, it's bravery, it's the inner strength, the perseverance, the resilience. Yeah, it's almost like you're hoping to have enough bravery and resilience to get through all of this. And on the flip side of that, you're scared of getting stuck there. Or maybe afraid that it's not going to. Well, I mean, that's the same as getting stuck. I was going to say, afraid that it's not going to shift. That you're going to be the hanging man forever. What is the big picture outcome here? Okay. 6 of coins. It's kind of a, to me in this deck, it's a balancing act. Because, I mean, you've got the scale here. So that kind of speaks to me of like give and take. Because anytime, like, this one over here is lower, and they're putting a coin on this one, which will balance it out. But as soon as you add anything on either side, it's going to be imbalanced again. The survival mode and kind of the fear and the faith, they're both part of the process. You have to give and take a little bit. If it's like about a business venture within creativity, you're going to have wins and you're going to have losses. But it's a balancing act. I don't know. I think you're learning that with the Page of Coins here. You're setting a good foundation there. Tempering yourself very nicely. They're bringing me back to the parrot spirit of watch your words. I don't think that's cautionary. I think you are watching your words. I think you're aware of how powerful speaking things into existence is, which is why anytime you get into this energy of I'm always going to be waiting, I'm going to lose everything, I'm always going to be in this survival mode, it's almost like you're catching yourself and tempering that. I thought this was going to be like a super, like, not negative reading, but I thought it was going to be like a really harsh reading. It doesn't seem that way at all. It seems like you know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. Yeah, that's really cool. Okay, well, that's going to conclude your reading. If this is where we part ways, I hope you have a good rest of your day, good rest of your week, good rest of your month, your year, what have you. I hope this helped gain a little bit of clarity, maybe even a little bit of confidence. Yeah, I will see you next week in the next reading. Thanks for watching. Bye. All right, hello, group number 3. We have the Big Witch Energy candle. We'll get that one going here. I wonder if I can even get my fingers and my flame in there. It's very low. Ooh. Got it. Good. Good. Okay, so we had the Pierto, the Pierto room, and this one represents hidden forces. Sorry, let me start over. The Pierto rune, often associated with mystery, chance, and the unknown, represents hidden forces and the unpredictable nature of fate. It can symbolize a dice cup, suggesting that one's destiny is determined by chance, but also that one has the power to influence outcomes through choices. Pierto also relates to secrets, hidden meanings, and potential for new beginnings. Honestly, the unpredictable nature of fate is kind of what draws me in the most, especially since we got Whale Spirit, Trust the Great Mystery. So the unpredictable nature of fate and trust the great mystery. And then we have Jade, a jade crystal, which, from what I know about it, it's really good for opening the heart chakra. And then we have a bay leaf for your incense. Whoa. Let me get my cards out here first. Whoa. I love burning bay leaves. This is so cool. So fun. Ouch. I'm gonna stop playing with it. Okay. And I've got ash all over me now. Okay, what do we have for group number 3? Whoa. What do we got going on for group number 3? What's the sitch? What's the situation for pile number 3? Okay. Okay, we've got the 5 of sticks, which is indicative of wands. The 5 of wands is usually a challenge. Maybe like an uphill battle. If I'm going off of the imagery alone, this person is riding on their path, which speaks towards the great mystery. Okay, you're walking your path. What is hindering or aiding this path? Ace of Blades, which is like the Ace of Swords. So either like a swords are the mind, the intellect, and aces are like something new or the embodiment of that suit. So it's either like a new mindset shift or just embodying the element of the mind. Are you learning to trust the great mystery? Hmm. Let's pull more cards. Maybe it'll round itself out. Whoa! Didn't even say anything yet. What is in the most recent past? What is leading up to this? Okay. Two of Sticks, which is like the Two of Wands, which is like planning a route to take. Okay, which makes sense. And then we have Knight of Blades, which is very Knight of Swords. And the Knight of Swords gets a bad rap. The Knight of Swords is a little, especially with knights being associated with fire and being quick paced, they leap without looking. They're confident in a way that borders on hubris and overconfident. But the Knight of Blades is also a master strategist, but they can get a bad rep for being too harsh and impulsive. You might be, especially with the Ace of Blades, the Ace of Swords, basically. Because, yes, the aces can be something new, but it's also the embodiment of that suit, the essence of that suit. You might be just really in your head and overthinking things and being a little too impulsive with the direction you choose to go. Okay. What's in the near future, or how do you perceive your future going? How are you currently perceiving your future? So the Page of Stones. Stones is Pentacles. So the Page of Pentacles. The pages, I don't know why there's an old lady depicted, but the pages are normally childlike. You know, if you think of pages in medieval times, they were messengers because they still have a lot to learn. But being within Pentacles, it's very patient. Pentacles also has to do with foundations and values. And the Page of Pentacles is very willing to go through that process of learning. Which is not what I'm getting from the imagery. The imagery says, I mean, because she's camp host here, right? And I'm almost getting the feel that she's been camp host for a very long time. But she might treat every single day as if it's new. It's almost like, because in the recent past that's leading up to this, is a lot of impulsive decisions regarding your direction, your path. And then, I don't know, it's almost like you've stopped focusing on the destination, on taking like the best route possible. You're just picking a route and going with it. You've stopped overthinking, and now you're treating every single day as if it's a brand new day. You might still be impulsive, but you're not like, you're not berating yourself for it. It's just a part of the process. What is the subconscious programming here? The King of Stones. Kings are air within the mind and the intellect. We have a lot of mind. Interesting. 2 stones, 2 sticks, 2 blades, which is pentacles, wands, and swords. So we have an absence of cups here, which is feelings and intuition. The King of Pentacles is usually like, he's a master at bringing things into the reality in a very practical way. Some of the imagery on these cards just don't match. Because, like, this is a very dreamy imagery to me. Dreaming up life. But maybe in a very practical way. Yeah. Bringing dreams into reality in a very practical way. But this is your subconscious programming. You might have had this belief that you can create anything you want. So what's in the conscious? What are you striving for? What is in your conscious thoughts? Okay, 2 of Swords or 2 of Blades. The 2 of Swords is usually a decision. This almost looks more like a 2 of Cups to me. That's so odd. Blades are swords, right? Yeah, the blades are swords. So choices within the mind. That is so odd. Hmm. That's so odd. Cause like I'm trying to get a hold of this two of blades here because traditionally the card is about decisions within the mind, but the imagery is almost very two of cups with the the connection, the relationship, the kind of interaction with others. And I went to grab my other deck to try and find the two of swords to like kind of show like how different that card is. And the two of swords is literally on the bottom of this deck. It's kind of funny. Trust the great mystery. The world, the universe works in mysterious ways. But this one clearly speaks towards a decision and being blinded in that. And then this one is like connection. I'm curious to see what they have for two of cups in this deck. There's two of pentacles. Two of vessels. Yeah, that's still pretty heavy on connection. So we have you on your path. And you're either overthinking or not overthinking. You're used to being impulsive with choosing a direction. And now you're learning that's just your nature. You go with the flow. You've stopped berating yourself for that. And then subconsciously, we've got kind of a dreamy card here. And the conscious is the two of blades. I almost want to read those two. What does the little booklet have to say about this? Okay, we're in stones. Okay. So King of Stones. The King of Stones is a master of his achievements and knows that sometimes you have to make sacrifices in some parts of your life to become rich in others. For this king, true wealth is not about accumulating material goods, but prioritizing what to give up. By doing this, you can make time for the activities and people that mean the most to you, and invite rewarding, non tangible experiences and memories in your life. Follow the king's lead, be an example of giving up in order to receive. So that almost speaks towards like surrender to the process. Because sometimes you do have to let go of what's no longer serving you. I do not get that from the imagery whatsoever. But so in your subconscious mind, the kind of subconscious programming, the autopilot, is kind of going with the flow and knowing, surrendering to the process. And then Two of Blades is the conscious. What's going on in your mind? The conscious mind though? Not the autopilot, but like when you're in it. In tune. Okay, Two of Blades. In ice skating, you literally have two metal blades attached to your feet. To skate, you must think of a series of partnerships. Your feet work together, your mind works with your body, and the blades work in connection with the ice. The most graceful skaters are people who let their minds and bodies work together, not by forcing it, but rather by letting go. There is a level of trust between themselves and the ice, between their bodies and the skates. They don't work against the ice, they work with ice. Don't overthink your choices, relax, and use your intuition. That almost reminds me of something I read in the Practicing the Power of Now, where observing the thoughts instead of becoming the thoughts and attaching to the thoughts, but observing, like stepping back, like I am the one listening to and watching all of these thoughts, but also observing the emotions within the body creates presence in the now. In order to kind of use the mind more as a tool rather than your mind driving you. Okay, yeah. So, barring the actual book meaning of this card, I almost see this as like subconsciously you're used to dreaming impractical things. Your dreams kind of get a little ahead of you, a little away from you. But with the Two of Blades, you're consciously making an effort to be present in the now. To use your mind as a tool instead of letting it run amok and let it rule you. Because it's almost like when you practice that being present in the now and just observing the thoughts and observing the emotions, you do kind of stop overthinking, and you fall into surrender and trusting the great mystery. So instead of trying to force things to happen, being impulsive with your decisions on direction, you're having a lot more faith and presence. Which the Page of Stones does kind of indicate that, because with the pages it's a childlike enthusiasm, and within stones that's pentacles, the physical reality. So it's like you are completely present with childlike enthusiasm within your current reality. Okay, so what is your influence in all of this? What is your influence in all of this? That's too many. What influence do you have on the situation? Okay, the Emperor. Traditionally, the Emperor speaks towards like the divine masculine side of things, your sense of authority, your entrepreneurship, the way you make decisions. Okay, so what's the external influences in all this? What external forces are influencing this situation? What are the external forces influencing this situation? Which one am I taking? All of them? Okay. So first up, we have the Two of Stones, which is like the Two of Pentacles. The Six of Stones, which is like the Six of Pentacles. And the Eight of Vessels, which is like the Eight of Cups. Interesting. Interesting. There's something really funny drawing me in on this card. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. No. No, it's not going to focus. But the face on this guy is like super chill, happy. He's having a good time. Just la-di-da-di-da. And the guy behind him is just like, he's not having a good time. He's cringing. That might be other people around you just like cringing at how you do things because like you're learning that this is just the way you operate. You're very kind of trust the process, go with the flow, surrender. And now you're, consciously working on practicing being in the now. Being like in your body and just accepting that that's the way you do things. And instead of like being impulsive, you're seeing it more as intuitive. Because like I said, the Knight of Swords gets a bad rap for being too impulsive. So it's almost like that's how you viewed yourself because everybody else viewed you that way. And you're starting to see you're not impulsive. You're intuitive. So like everybody's looking at you just like, oh, and you're just like, da-da-da-da. It's good. It's good. I love it. The Six of Pentacles is usually like give and take. But I am not getting give and take with this one. This one almost is like shelter or taking a break. kind of like a rest stop on his journey. People might be telling you to slow down, but you're not. And then the Two of Pentacles, Two of Stones, is usually like juggling too much, or kind of an in-between period of what was and what is coming, and being kind of like in that middle point. Okay, so I had a walk-in customer. So let's see if I can jump back into this. Let's see. We got through your influence, and then external influences, and we were on the Two of Stones. Okay. Which that one almost has like almost Four Swords energy, like a rest, a reprieve. Okay. Well, let's just move on to the next one, which is, let's see. Come back, come back. Okay, your hopes and your fears regarding this spread. Oh, okay, I don't want these three. Hopes and fears, which are very tied together. Because if you're hoping for something, you're also fearing the opposite. Okay. What is your hopes and fears in all of this? We got 3 again. So the 9 of Vessels, 9 of Cups energy, 9 of Cups. 9 of Cups is pretty like abundant, which I do see that here. Kind of enjoyment. Maybe enjoying your time with other people. And then King of Sticks, which is King of Wands, making decisions and laws kind of based out of like a very passionate, creative space. King of Sticks. He's almost very grounded and rooted on his path, regardless of the dangers ahead. Because there's like a snake and a gator in the water. I can hardly see the cards. It's not focusing very well. And then the 3 of Blades, which is very 3 of Swords. 3 of Swords normally speaks towards tension. This does not say tension to me. So these two almost seem very like enjoying time with others. And the King of Sticks is almost like being very rooted on his path, no matter what comes. So it's almost like your hope is to maybe connecting with others in a more grounded way. And maybe the fear is that people will always see you as impulsive. Okay. So then what's the big picture outcome here? Big picture outcome. If everything stays the same, what is the outcome? The bigger picture here. Okay, 7 of Sticks, which is 7 of Wands. None of these cards are matching the traditional sense of the card. Because Seven of Wands is usually like confrontation. But he looks so happy. Okay, so big picture outcome. He's very happy with what he's constructed. So the outcome of it all is being very grounded in the way you tend to operate naturally through life and being happy with what you've constructed. Okay, so that will conclude your group 3 reading. Hope that resonates, lands, helps with some clarity, and I will see you next week for next week's reading. Bye.